Good day everyone! For this video presentation, it is about records and archives in the preservation of Philippine history and nation's identity.
Let us look at the important concepts regarding records and archives. First, the meaning of records and archives management. Records management is a key business process that underpins strategic planning, decision-making, and operational activities. In the context of human rights, records provide the information by which government and other organizations can meet and discharge their obligations to citizens and communities. It is also an area of general administrative management concerned with achieving economy and efficiency in the creation, maintenance, use, and disposal of the records of an organization throughout their entire life cycle and in making the information they contain available in support of the business organization and operation. Next, let us look at the aims of records management. The aims of records management is first, to create only needed records for the successful operation of an institution. Second, produce records when necessary. And third, retain only records required as evidence for the operation of an organization. Meanwhile, for the definition of archives management, it can be called as archives administration. According to the Dictionary of Archives terminology, it is the quote-unquote the general oversight of a program to appraise, acquire, arrange, and describe, preserve, authenticate, and provide access to permanently valuable records. It includes establishing the program's mission and goals, securing necessary resources to support these activities, and evaluating the program's performance. Archives management is distinguished from library, museum, and historical manuscripts traditions by the principles of provenance, original order, and collective control to preserve the material's authenticity, context, and intellectual character. Moving on, let's look at the archival values. We have historical, administrative, legal, and fiscal value. First, for the historical value, from the root word history, it is a value that documents past events, providing information about the lives and activities of persons, places, organizations, and nations' culture. Examples are annual reports of an organization, correspondence and administrative files, hearing transcripts, meeting minutes of boards, commissions and councils, photographs, records of births, deaths, and marriages, and certain records of institutions. Second, administrative value. It focuses on the conduct of current or future administrative affairs. They can be reports, circulars, government executive orders, memorandums, organizational charts, policy, and procedural manuals. Next, for the third, we have the legal value. From the word itself, legal, it tackles legal proceedings or evidence of past legal decisions. Examples of legal value are contracts, case records, articles of incorporation, agreements, statutes, and other related legal records. Lastly, when tackling records on finances, budgets, and money, we have the fiscal value. This value focuses on the conduct of business transaction or fiscal accounting. Examples of the fiscal value are accounting records, audit reports, budgets, financial journals, reports and statements, grant agreements, ledgers, and payroll records. In records and archival management, it is important that we take good care of these records and archives against deterioration. Thus, we have to preserve or conserve them. Let's look at the meaning of preservation and conservation. Preservation refers to the positive or protective measures to prolong the life of an object, even if it is still in a very stable state. It also aims to stabilize and extend the life of an artifact without the need for treatment, and emphasizes a safe environment. Furthermore, through preservation, it secures collections against theft, to prepare for future disasters, and avoid inappropriate repairs. For conservation, it is the treatment of library or archival materials, works of art, or museum objects to stabilize them chemically or strengthen them physically, sustaining their survival as long as possible in their original form. It is somehow similar to preservation because it aims to maintain a safe environment for storage and display of an object, but it may involve a treatment program to stabilize the object with the least possible intervention. Next, the Archives of the Philippines. We have the National Archives of the Philippines. The National Archives of the Philippines houses around 60 million papers spanning centuries of Spanish rule, American and Japanese occupations, and the Republic's early years. It is also the country's final depository for voluminous notarized documents. The National Archives of the Philippines is in charge of ensuring that documents and records are maintained and made available to the public. Its principal task is to conserve original sources of information on Philippine history, as well as the fundamental elements of cultural heritage and communal memory. These documentary sources are testaments to common national experiences as well as embodiments of community identities. In their website, on the left, they have a featured document named Erección de Pueblos Catalog, wherein it can be accessed online as long as a formal request will be presented. The National Archives of the Philippines is strict when it comes to these records. Now, with regards to this document, according to the National Archives of the Philippines, quote and unquote, the digital catalog consisting of 8,835 images were digitized from the cards prepared as finding aids for the Erecciones records for the Spanish documents sections or SDS Section 1. The Erección de Pueblos record series dealing with the establishment of towns composing of sitios, barrios, visitas, parishes, and districts, is composed of 236 bundles of manuscripts, drawings, illustrations, plans, and maps. These records provide informational background on Spanish political and ecclesiastical activities in the Philippine archipelago. Moving on, they have SALN submissions. SALN is statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth. The years indicated in their website are from 2013 up to 2020. That is, employees of the National Archives of the Philippines are required to submit their SALNs as part of being a transparent agency. So here is their certification of compliance in the year 2020. Next, on the left side is the list of services. The National Archives of the Philippines has a citizens charter wherein it serves as a guide for the general public whenever they want to avail services or access some of the records and archives stored in the National Archives of the Philippines. On the other hand is their General Circular. The General Circular contains comprehensive and detailed information about the National Archives of the Philippines, terminologies regarding records and archives, the law which mandates the management and administration of records and archives in the Philippines, such as the Republic Act 9470 and its provisions, the guidelines on the disposal of valueless records in government agencies, and the General Records Disposition Schedule. Now, for the law about our records and archives, we have the Republic Act 9470, or known as the National Archives of the Philippines Act of 2007. According to the law, it is quote-unquote an act to strengthen the system of management and administration of archival records, establishing for the purpose the National Archives of the Philippines and for other purposes. For the purposes of this act, first, to strengthen existing system of management of public records and administration of government archives. Second, mandate government accountability to ensure that full and accurate records of the affairs of the national and local government units are maintained and preserved. The third, enhance public confidence in the integrity of public record keeping and management. Fourth, ensure accessibility of public records relevant to the promotion and preservation of Philippine cultural heritage. And last, support the safekeeping of private records with archival value. Lastly, let's look at the importance of records and archives in nation identity. First, records and archives allows us to gain knowledge of the past and other activities through these evidences, such as the records and archives. Second, records and archives develops our sense of identity. Third, it develops our awareness on cultures, customs, traditions, and beliefs. Thus, it is important that we must preserve and protect our records and archives because these symbolize our country's rich history, culture, identity, as well as these can serve as guide toward nation development. Here are the references that we used in this video presentation. Thank you everyone for watching. We hope that you have learned something in this video presentation.
Have a good day everyone. Mabuhay!